Hey everybody, you're tuned in to 91.8 The Fan. You're in my corner, and I actually have a very special guest in my corner as well, and it would be the fantabulous Matt Hill. Thank you for joining the show.
Wow, what an intro. Jackie, how are you?
I'm great. How are you doing?
Fantastic. I was saying I was, before we went on, I'm cruising up here in Canada, the wide open road with, beloved Reese Verna, which is our RV from the Run for One Planet tour, and getting her all ready to get sold back down in California. So it's perfect timing, and I'm so grateful to be talking to you and everybody out there in Fanland. It's awesome.
Well, it's very awesome to have you as well because I actually remember you from a well-known show called Gundam Seed. That was the first time I ever heard you.
Just so I got to hang out with all week.
Who'd you get to hang out with all week?
I got to hang out with Catherine all week long.
I'm sure that must have been a party.
Yeah, well, whatever. It's, I'll tell you what I really think about Sam Vincent, but off the air. On the air, absolutely. Boy, what a great guy. Great guy.
Now I'm curious. That's a very dramatic role in comparison to some of your other ones. Was that very difficult to do?
Not really. It's kind of funny. I remember. I think I got the part because our good friend Carl, who is the master director behind all the Vancouver voice talents, as far as a lot of the anime stuff. He said, "All right, well, just do what you do, but don't have so much energy." But she's just Mr. Serious, and so he gave me the one line, which was Kira Yamato launching, and so anytime I kind of got out of that, he just played that ref, and it kind of got me back in the zone.
Oh, definitely. And it's funny to me because, from what I know, you haven't done, say, a big, gist of roles, but do you have sort of a favorite or one that sticks out in your mind?
You know what? I mean, Kira was awesome, as far as anime, and then, I loved playing Kira Bears in Card Captors, all those years ago. It was a lot of fun, and from sort of the regular animation world, playing Raphael was phenomenal. Being able to do Ed, Ed, and Eddie for 8 seasons was sparkly.
That must have been fun to sound like that.
It was so much fun, Jackie, and just wanted you to know that I think you are pretty.
Aw, how cute.
Yep.
And that season went on for a very long time, didn't it?
What's that?
That season went on for a very long time, didn't it, that show?
Yeah, that's funny, actually, because 8 seasons of Ed, Ed, and Eddie just seemed like one long half hour. It was fantastic. It was a great ride, and, like I said, it got me to have to be friends with Sam Vincent. I mean, I didn't want to be, but he's one of my best pals on the whole planet now, and because as everybody knows out there, he played at Double P. So, we got to hang out together for 8 years, and hey, we're stuck together now.
That's true.
Yeah, no, it's great. I mean, that's probably, Jackie, I think that's one of the most amazing, what would you say, perks for being a voice actor in general, and then even, in Vancouver, because it just seems to attract a really cool type of actor, and it's because we kind of all, in a way, become friends and compadres, and, I affectionately call everyone my peeps and my peepettes, because everybody's always really gunning for each other, and the support is huge. Me and Sam actually have this thing where, if one of us gets a role that we're both up for and the other gets it and the other doesn't, well, the other that doesn't get it has to phone the other and say, way to go, and take the what out of them for a couple minutes. But, it's all in good fun, and it's always really good energy. That's what I love about being, particularly a voice actor. It's a great community. I love everybody.
And I can tell you have a lot of energy, and you probably bring that to the booth and to your characters. But do you have a preference for regular animation as I'm losing my words today in comparison to anime.
You're doing great, Jackie. Just keep the mouse part moving.
I'll try.
Do I have like a favorite? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, do you have a favorite between the two? Do you prefer animation or do you prefer anime?
You know what? Both are wicked because they both allow me to like. I mean, it's funny because I'm not funny, but I guess some people think I'm funny, and I'm really lucky because I don't know, I'm being able to pull the wool over somebody's eyes, and people seem to like the voices that I do, and so in a way, I can't really like. In a way, like I have such an amazing job. I'm so lucky, and it's not only served me for the last 20 years to have an incredible life, and I've been blessed to work on animation shows, around the world, and especially then when Steph and I went out and ran around the continent last year, which we'll get to later. Even doing anime and animation for the last 20 years, it absolutely helped to propel that as well because everybody that we were speaking to, as soon as they found out that I was like an actor, but then a voice actor in particular, it was amazing. Like people felt like there was that connection, right? And so in a way, we already kind of had the pleasantries out of the way, and were all like great friends, and we just all had a barbecue together the night before. That was kind of the feeling.
But that's good, though, that you guys are such a close community, and I know that it's very rare we get to talk to actually Canadian voice actors, and I hear that Vancouver is the place to be for a lot of animation.
Well, that's the rumor. I think that's just, Vancouver saying, don't anybody else come. No, I'm just kidding. We are so blessed. It's incredible. I think in a way, have you read the book Outliers?
Yes, I have, actually.
Okay, well, I look at Vancouver in particular with the entertainment industry, like, animation obviously on this interview, but kind of the entertainment industry on the whole. Vancouver kind of grew up with each other, because really it's less than 30 years young. And so people who've been in it since sort of like the early days, we've all kind of, that's how we all kind of grew up, and we all kind of futzed and farted our way through and kind of, got our chops up to speed and then especially in the voice community because it is a little bit smaller, but you've got a core group of, let's say 30 to sort of like 100 people that really probably do 90 to 100% of the work. And so, we're all, I say it humbly, but we're all pretty darn good at what we do. But I think that just because of, also I think from being from Canada, we kind of got that, oh shucks, wow, do you think we're good, kind of thing going on. It's a kind of a neat geographical location and a perfect time to have kind of like, grown up with it and now to be continuing to, to spread our message locally around the world.
And now that must actually be one of the funnest jobs I could think of because you get to have fans sort of go after you crazily at conventions and whatnot.
Well, you could talk to another guy named Scott McNeil, probably on that. I think he could probably write a book or do a documentary on, I've got a handful of conventions compared to my compadre there. And, I gotta line up a little bit, but he's got people going out the windows and down the doors and, down to the next hotel waiting to, to give him a hug or, get his autograph. And, we always joke with Scotty because he's kind of like, what's the name of that country star that, he was huge in the 90s and he had a record for signing autographs for 24 hours without taking a break.
I'll be honest, I know nothing about country.
Neither do I, except Shania Twain. She's hot. But that's a side note. Yeah, it's, hey, it's a great thing to be able to connect with the fans. Again, for me, being out on the road last year, running around North America, it was incredible how many fans were actually just, some came as far away as, like, I remember when we were in Toronto, and one of my good friends, Colin Reboy, who's, been in the anime world for a while, as a fan, him and his family, they came all the way up from, like, New York State, to come and say hi and interview us, and in school presentations when they'd find out, some of the different shows that I'd done. Like I said, it absolutely made them feel, I believe, like we were already kind of knew each other because they knew me through these characters. So it was kind of neat because it kind of cut away all the other stuff, and we were just having this incredible human experience together. That's what I love. It's almost like a big, massive 11,000-mile high five.
Well, that's one way to put it, and I think for all of our listeners out there, we are going to take a short break, but when we come back, we'll get to find out how a voice actor becomes an all-star runner, so stay tuned to 91.8 The Fan. Everything you want, nothing you don't.
This is DJ Kana here to tell you the best place for all you video game fanatics.
I'm listening.
If you haven't head on over to your local game tag, you don't know what you're missing. Not only can you rent all of their used games, which is perfect if you're not sure what you're looking for, but you'll always be served by gamers just like yourself. What's not to love?
Do I look like I have any interest in children? Now making them? Well, that's another story.
Not only that, every game tag is located next to a Video HQ, where you can buy or rent your favorite anime on DVD or Blu-ray. So what are you waiting for? Head on over to GameTagStores.com or VideoHQStores.com. Make sure to tell them 91.8 The Fan sent ya.
Hey everybody, you're tuned in to 91.8 The Fan. I'm still here with my guests, as you can hear, and we're having a great time behind the scenes without you. I'm sorry. No. And I'm curious, though, how did you go from voice acting to running this huge thing across Canada and the U.S. for Run for One Planet?
Yeah, well, you know what, Jackie? It was simply born out of a true desire to give back for the incredible life, that I enjoy living at this time and moment in history, and also just, where I live in Vancouver, Canada, and just that really deep desire to make a difference so that, I can tell my kids that I tried to make the world a better place. And, when I met Steph, I guess this was back in 2006, we both felt exactly the same way, and we kind of been asking those same questions of ourselves. And so quite quickly, it kind of ballooned into, interestingly enough, I was on a flight to an anime convention actually in Detroit of the fall of 2006. And this crazy idea dropped on my head at 27,000 feet in the air that I needed to run a long way. And, this voice, I guess everybody in anime land would understand, kind of like the voice of the announcer or God. Really saying, Matt Hill, sit back down in that seat and get ready, because all these questions you've been asking since I was 10 when I saw Terry Fox running across Canada, to cure young people with cancer so they wouldn't have to go through what he went through. I got these answers, since I've been asking questions since that time of how could I make a difference and, use my love of running and people and the planet to really try and make some change and make the world a better place. And so, thank God Steph jumped on, because she brings the business building side and the most incredible tenacity of any beautiful woman I've ever had the honor to love. She jumped in on this crazy dream, and before we knew it, we were like, all right, it's got to be North America. We're going to do a marathon each a day. We're going to do it in a year, and we're going to see if we can inspire 1 million new actions for the planet. And we're going to see if we can raise $1 million to start a legacy for kids. And, wow, we better get going, because we don't even know how to run more than a marathon at this point.
I mean, I asked Steph, and I would like to ask you, how do you even prepare for that sort of run? That's a huge amount to run,
Oh, absolutely. And you know what? Our motto, small steps add up. And it literally came down to that, Jackie, that every aspect of this big, audacious, massive endeavor that we, literally, I think, said yes to before we actually even realized or even contemplated what it would actually entail, we just broke it down. And every time it got, absolutely insurmountable, We literally broke it down into manageable chunks where we could say, okay, what can we handle right now? And so even with the training, what was, essentially a marathon each every day. So that's, for our American friends, that's 26.2 miles. And for Canadian friends, it's 42.2 kilometers. And so double that, because I do that and Steph would do that. And so we'd break that down even into a 10-kilometer chunk at a time in order to keep it sustainable. And we relayed each other across the country, that way. Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, it definitely does. And I'm
Okay.
sure you guys both really supported each other during such a long run.
Oh yeah, oh my God. You know what? It's one of those things where literally you see the most, how do I put this, best of each other, and you see the worst of each other. Because when you're taking yourself from, what, at that point in 2006 when we decided to do it, Steph's daily limit for a run was 10 kilometers, so 6 miles. And she would literally pass out for the rest of the weekend. So, within the span of about 8 months, we were up to the marathon distance and running it again and again and again. And, and then you take all the, you're taking yourself out of your comfort zone times 1,000. And so, talk about being slammed with, like, all your greatest fears and all your weaknesses and, put them all together under the exhausting time of running every day to try and put this thing together, as well as try and raise money, as well as try and get sponsorship. And you got a whole lot of compression. And, the beautiful thing is we always said that we'd have each other's backs no matter what. And interestingly enough, when everything got maybe sometimes at its worst, one of us would be at our best. And it was kind of neat how that worked out because, maybe the good Lord above, maybe, goes, okay, these guys are going to be under a lot of pressure. If they're both in a bad mood at the same time, well, they probably will kill each other. So, but I mean that in all seriousness. It was the most stretching, challenging, beautiful, amazing experience I could have ever been blessed to have. And especially by doing it with my partner, Steph, who every step of the way showed me, beauty and humanity and a tenacity and grit. I mean, I thought I was tough. Holy smokes. She's tough. She's tough. And she's so beautiful, too.
Aw, no, that's adorable. And, I
How can you tell I love her?
I can tell. I'm pretty sure. It might just be a psychic sense.
That's true. That's true.
But, being such a tough endeavor in such a, harsh situation, I did hear that you actually got injured in the desert, I believe.
Yeah, it is wild because, no matter what way you break it down, it's overuse. Your body's going, you want me to do another marathon? But I just did one yesterday and the day before. And, but, injuries were just going to be a part of it. And, luckily we did so much training before we left that we mitigated a lot of any major stuff before we left. Had incredible chiropractic care. Plus also, really, that's why our model became Small Steps Add Up, because that was literally how it helped us to be sustainable. But then, lo and behold, sounds like my chiropractor told me he's a Zen Buddhist monk. You tell it, he's like the guy's a god. He can figure stuff out over the phone of what's wrong. And he figures I stubbed my foot somewhere around Houston, Texas, which we were there in January. And by the time we got to Arizona, Hobbs, New Mexico, I was absolutely hobbling, and so much so that my hip felt like literally it was just going to explode out of the side of my body, and I couldn't figure out what the heck was going on. And but we had a tour to do. We had to do a marathon. We still had to get going. We had schools that were waiting for us, and it's amazing that in order to keep going, it was like, okay, well, I guess the small steps have to add up a little bit slower. And so I essentially walked from Hobbs, New Mexico, 14 marathons in a row all the way out to San Diego, California, where I could finally get a chiropractor that could kind of pull my leg apart and, make my hip feel somewhat better.
Oh, geez, you're making me sound like a couch potato.
Oh, no, it's all relative, It is. It's all relative. But, the thing is Steph probably touched on this, but I'll just maybe add to it. It was really because of the inspired goal and the reason why we were doing this. It wasn't just to say, hey, guess what? We ran 420 marathons collectively last year. It had nothing to do, in a way, with the run. It was all about what run, what that symbolizes. And so we always said to people, if you feel inspired by us going out there and running these amounts of marathons every day, then let it inspire you to make one simple change in your own life. And so that's why we put together a list of top 10 action steps that we were hoping to inspire 1 million North Americans to adopt. And, like really simple things like just using your own bag and deciding not to use plastic bags. So when you're at Whole Foods or if you're at Trader Joe's or wherever it is you shop, and they say paper or plastic, you just say neither. I've got my own bag. And, I probably some people know that, a bag, on average in North America, we use a plastic bag for about 7 minutes. And that thing takes over 1,000 years to decompose and go back to the earth. So, that's why we thought if we could get people to just think about that and say, you know what, if Matt and Steph can run a marathon a day, we're going to stop using plastic bags. Or, a lot of people, especially in the South, like where you are, Jackie, right, where it's hotter than the sun, one of the biggest things is water conservation, right? The whole South of America has been in a drought for 7 years. So teachers were just begging us to give their students some sort of inspiration. And so for us, it was just asking them to say, okay, everybody, make the pledge to turn off the water when you're brushing your teeth or washing your hands. So we did this really fun little song with them and get them to pledge, kind of like the Pledge of Allegiance, right? And so it was great. And all these kids all over North America going, I promise to turn off the water when I'm brushing my teeth, I'm like, it's so cool, but it's amazing because, and that's why I say, getting to use the fact that I do cartoons for a living to also help to teach and inspire these kids with this message was like the greatest gift ever.
And that must have been sort of amazing to, see their reactions, to go to these schools and see what their teachers are saying and what they would say, when they met you.
Oh, absolutely. Oh, yeah. I mean, Jackie, I think probably for me one of the most memorable emails I ever got was a teacher in Tucson, Arizona. And I'll never forget, those teachers in their school, that they're the ones that are kind of trying to make everything happen. And, they're the ones the kids love the most, but they're the ones that the kids get kind of pissed at the most, too, because, like, they're the ones that are, like, really kind of making the kids rise to their greatness.
Right.
Well, this lady was just beside herself. You could see at the beginning when we first started the presentation, you could see she was kind of like, oh, God, okay, another motivational talk. Okay, whatever. Half an hour, we'll get the kids back to the thing. But then a light bulb went on over her head, and you just saw her having fun because she realized the kids were getting it. And then before you knew, and I think she liked the funny voices. I think I remember her saying she liked Raphael, so she thought that was cool. Her kids, had all had, Raphael underwear and things like that, right? And I can't see underwear on the radio, can I? Oh,
no, you can't.
Oops, sorry. It was amazing because she just picked up when we did her tip on turn off the water. She absolutely, it was like she had been given the answer, and she knew that we were instilling something in those kids that she had been trying forever to do. And she came up to us afterwards and gave us like the biggest massive hug. And I'm a big hugger. So for me to even go like, whoa, that was a big hug. And she had tears in her eyes. And she's like, thank you for giving these kids something not only inspiring with your message of what you're actually doing, but also something so simple that yet if you look at it en masse, that is so powerful. Because in a school like that, I think there was like something like 2,500 kids. And she said the amount of water and the water bill that they went through every month was like astronomical, especially in obviously the hot months. And so lo and behold, I guess about a month or so later, I get an email out of the blue from her, and she's like, don't you think that you did not have an incredibly lasting impression on these kids? She said, because you want to know something? Every single day since you and Steph left, the kids are yelling at each other down the hall saying, Matt and Steph said to turn off the water, and and they're policing each other, and they're getting after the teachers, when they see them idling their cars, and so great change happened by kids having fun and also making a connection on how easy it is to make these changes.
That's
what I think.
Amazing.
Yeah, like I feel like the luckiest guy on the planet. I swear to God, it's such a joy, and now Steph and I are being blessed to be asked to speak at leadership conferences all over North America. So if anybody out there is listening, and you'd like to have Steph and Matt from Run for One Planet come and speak at your leadership conference, email us. Matt at runforoneplanet.com.
And now, what's in the future for Run for One Planet?
Aha, great question. Well, like I said, after having a little bit of time to kind of decompress, we took a breath. We fell asleep for about 14 days and 14 nights after we got home, and I can't believe. Oh, I'm gonna have to put the phone down here because I'm going past a police officer. In 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Hold on one second. I'll be right back. Yeah, still there.
I will do a little jig for you in the meantime.
He's breaking the law. Well, you know what's amazing, Jackie? It's like Steph and I realized we just celebrated Run for One Planet Day, which is now an officially dedicated day in the city of Vancouver by our mayor, Gregor Robertson, who has this big audacious goal as well to make Vancouver the greenest city on the planet by 2020. So they loved what we did and how much effect we had with people. So they dedicated that day, forever. So we just celebrated that, the first anniversary of being home 2 Saturdays ago. And, like you said, now we're being asked to share our message, to lots of different leadership conferences and different sort of advisory, committees and community events all over North America, which is just such a, God, I'm just like acting. I'm the luckiest guy to be able to do all this.
That's so amazing, and I think that a lot of our listeners will definitely check that out. Do you guys have a Facebook or Twitter? Do you guys do the social media thing at all?
Absolutely. You can twatter me at, no, I'm kidding. I actually, here's how technically challenged I am. Steph is definitely up on all that. So yes, we have a Facebook fan club, and I believe it's the Run for One Planet support group is what it's called. So I think you can go there. It's managed by my wonderful nephew, Adam Hill, who's actually a burgeoning journalist as well on the radio. And but Steph has got that all set up on Facebook. You can find Steph. You can find me. I'm still trying to find out how I actually log on. But when Twitter first happened, I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna start twittering too. And I'm so challenged that somehow I ended up inviting my whole database. So we're talking like maybe 400 or 500 people. I invited them 11 times to join Twitter through some weird glitch, and so I got lots of emails back going, I got it the first time.
I've never even heard of that before.
Yeah, I know. It's, if I can make something like that happen, well, that's me. That's why I stick to running and doing voices. Yes, you can find us there. Obviously, please go to runforoneplanet.com. Our emails are on there. Say hi. You could always go to my website as well, matt-hill.com. Again, I don't know how to get in touch with the forum, but my God bless me having a nephew like Adam. So any comments like that from fans, he always makes sure he gets them to me. Just let's connect. If we're coming, we have all our events that Steph and I are out on the road doing. We always get them updated on our website. And so if we're coming sort of near your area, come scream at us and say hi.
And now I'm wondering, before we let you go, if you'd like to participate in a 91.8 The Fan tradition.
Fantastic. What do I get to do? Do I get to finally go, hi, this is Matt Hill, 91 Fan.
Yes, actually, that's exactly what you get to do.
Really? All
yes,
right, give it to me.
We ask everybody who comes on if they'd be willing to say a line for us, and the line is, you fill in the blanks, by the way, so don't try and pull that. I've had people pull that.
Okay.
Say, my name is, I do this, and you're too.
Okay, hold on 1 second.
Okay.
Hold on 1 second. I'm going by a cop again. Hold on 1 second. I've got to put the phone down. Okay, hold on.
All right.
Yeah, still here. I'm going by the police. Okay, I'll turn on the other ear, and...
You only get this live. I'm just saying.
Okay, go for it. Okay, what do I have to do?
All we ask you to do is say, my name is, I do this, and you're tuned into 91.8 The Fan.
Okay. My name is Matt Hill, and I do this. I talk to 91.8 The Fan.
Perfect.
Everybody's going, what does he do? That's awesome. Well, Jackie, you are a rock star. Thank you so much.
And thank you so much for being on the show. Is there anything else you'd like to tell the listeners out there?
I love you, baby!
Well, thank you for once again joining the show, and we'll let you get back to your drive. That way you don't run into any cops or anything. And
No doubt, eh? No, you know what? If actually you could add, in all seriousness, we can all make a huge difference in our lives. And so really, it's about creating the world that we want to live in right now and what we want to pass on to our children. So, know that one challenge or one step or whatever it is for you can make a difference. And, by you choosing to do something that inspires yourself, it also inspires all those around you. So never, ever underestimate the power of one choice that you can make. So, I feel incredibly grateful to everybody that's a fan of, I guess, this guy named Matt Hill. It's not something I take lightly, and so thanks so much for loving what I do and all the support you've had with me over the years. And I'm going to cry now.
Aww. Well, we will get you a tissue, and for everybody out there who might have missed this interview, shame on you, but it'll be up on the site in your days. So
That's right.
Stay tuned.
Oh, and everybody send Jackie lots of fan mail as well, okay? Because she's awesome.
Aw. Stay tuned to 91.8 The Fan, guys. Everything you want, nothing you don't. Here's TM Revolution and their song.